Hi, I'm Dave Roberts and this is Angling Escapades. Hello and welcome to the River Wye Angling Escapades on the bank. It's Christmas time, it's our Christmas special. Come here Monty, it's our Christmas special. Now you've got to show up for the cameras. Okay, so we are here today, actually here by accident today. We should have been doing a guided coaching session today, doing float fishing, but as you can see the river is far beyond it's a good, what you call a good state, so we cancelled that session. And I think just an early point on that, I know, you know, I get a lot of inquiries for Angling Escapades through this video channel, and you know, people aren't sure what a day with me involves, or a day on the river with Angling Escapades involves. And just to sort of rest people's minds, if you book in for a day with me and it's for a specific purpose, you know, i.e. like today was float fishing, if it's not perfect, we just cancel, we just postpone, we rearrange, or we give refunds. It's not a case of, you know, take your chance and if it's cancelled you've lost your money. We always we only want to go out when our targets are realistic to achieve. So that's why today I was left with a spare day, and although I've come to do something a bit different, a bit of a Christmas special, just to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, but come to do something different. I think I'll get bites today, and in all fairness, you know, my guest today would have possibly got bites as well, but would we have achieved what we were setting out to? You know, he wanted to learn running line skills, you know, stick floats, wagglers, bolognese, things like that, and so it wasn't realistic. So even though I might get some bites today, it wouldn't be fair to do that to a customer and expect them to pay for this. So that's why I'm here filming this. So what I'm going to do, I've kept it reasonably simple. I'm on the tennis court section of the Hereford and District Angling Association water. This is always good water when we've got high water conditions. So what I'm proposing to do is I'm going to fish in this slack water here. We've got two, you know, nice slack here between two trees. So I'm going to fish in this slack water, and I've just set up 2 rigs to do that. The first rig I've set up is a 15 gram flat float, you know, one of the Caruso sharks, and basically that's a 15 gram flat float, and that's going to enable me to hold it dead still. I'm going to ball in some ground bait. I've got a you know, a bucket full of ground bait mixed up, you know, and there's plenty of soil in that, and it's a real heavy mix. and I'm going to put into that, I'm going to put hemp casters and worms, chopped up worms into there, and really sort of pin it to the bottom, and hopefully if there's fish that are willing to feed. The river is dropping now. I mean, it started off at 3.2 something meters this morning. It's dropping now. It's dropped about 2 inches. I put a marker in at the start just when I got here, and it's dropped 2 inches since I've been here, so it is on its way down, and that might just encourage a few fish to feed. If I can catch a roach or dace, something like that, get a few bites. So that's why I'm fishing, say, flat float over ground bait to start with, to really nail it still and hold it over that spot. I've also set up something a little bit different. Now, anybody who knows me will know that I have an absolute hatred of centerpin reels. Now, when I say hatred, I mean I don't hate a centerpin, because I mean these are, you know, beautiful engineering, you know, quite often engineered in this country, and you know, they are a thing of beauty. There's no two ways about it. But I continually get it on this channel where people say to me, "Oh, you should use a centerpin. You'll get so much better control," and things like that. Well, I don't agree. You know, they are a beautiful thing to use, and they do give you great presentation. However, I can achieve the same presentation with my fingers and my hands, running it through my fingers and using a fixed spool reel. What you get with a centerpin on presentation, you then lose on winding speed and also winding power. Although you might be in direct contact with the fish through the drum, you can't, for me, wind in quick enough. And for me, it's not all about speed, but I don't want to spend my day winding in. I want to spend my day either winding in fish or fishing. So for that reason, I don't use them that much. But I thought, well, you know, today it's Christmas, so I just had an idea with this peg. I've got set up on this rod here. I've got a long 7-meter bollo rod, very specialist rod. It's a lovely rod, not a rod I get out of the bag much, but it kind of looked today. I thought of it and I thought, you know, we've got this slack here, and with a 7-meter bollo rod I can run this it's an 8-gram bollo float, and I can run that you know, down off the rod tip virtually, you know. And with the center pin as well, it should just trundle off. It's slightly overshotted. I've got it overshotted by an AA, and it should just trundle off nicely, nice and steadily, and give me some good presentation. So if there are any roach and dace that are willing to feed, you know, maybe later on, especially as it's dropping off, we might be centerpin to catch a few on running line, you know, just running it off that rod tip. And it's something actually I'm really looking forward to using. You know, as much as I'm talking centre pins down, you know, they are a thing of beauty and they're a nice thing to use. I wouldn't want to be using them in matches, but just to keep the critics quiet, I'm going to use one today. So we'll see if that works out. And if those fail, well, you know, it's a big river, it's coloured, we can always have a chuck for a barbel, can't we? And I might still do that later anyway, but I just want to put some ground bait in to start and see what we come up with. Okay, so as I said earlier, ground bait's going to be my main sort of attack today, because you know, you really need, in these conditions, you need to get your bait on the bottom. You need to get something for the fish to settle over. And I've got a big old bucket of ground bait. I mixed plenty of soil in with this, so it's a real heavy mix. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some handfuls out, ready to ball in. I don't want to put all my mix together. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I don't want to put all my loose feed into one mix. So I'm just going to take out what I need to start with to ball in and to get me through the first sort of maybe hour of this session. So I'll put a good amount in there. I'm then going to add, I've got a good amount of casters here. I should turn these myself, I'm quite proud of these. So I'm going to put a good handful of casters in, good handful of hemp, and then I've got some chop worms. Now I've chopped up a few, mainly dendras, but with a few lobworms in there as well, because I want to fish lobworm tails ideally, you know, to start with. So it's quite finely minced worm, so I'm not going to put too much in, just a couple of little pinches like that, and then I'm going to mix all that up together. Really distribute all those bits evenly through the mix, so you know that every ball has got sort of similar amounts of feed in it. Like so. And now if I mix a ball up, you can see each ball has got, you know, nice amount of bits and bobs in there, and I'll just round those up, make sure they're nice and aerodynamic, or hydrodynamic if that's a word, and get them ready to ball in. Now I'm going to put because it's quite cold, I'm going to put 8 balls in to start, just to get some, you know, plenty of bait down on the bottom. And also, when you throw like I do, you end up putting 2 extra ones in anyway, just to make up for the inaccuracy. 3. But this is good. That soil really adds the weight to it, and also, you know, it helps break down the ground bait as well, gives it a real fine breakdown as well. So and obviously it's a natural, it's, you know, it's soil from the riverbank, or from the, you know, from the meadows around the river, so it's natural to the water, and hopefully the fish will like it. Nice sweet mix as well, some nice pro natural in there, nice sweet mix. That's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one more. There we go. 8 balls of ground bait. 8 of those. Going to go in now. And I expect, you know, I'd hope if I can get some bites early, straight, you know, you go straight over your ground bait, there will be fish hopefully come home in on it. So it's important to be ready to fish straight away. So I'm going to throw these in and get me rig straight over the top of them. Right, so starting bait, little tail of a lobworm, nice and positive. Try and get a bite, but you know, I'm sure budgies and maggots would work as well, but start hopefully get a few inquisitive fish over that ground bait. Nice big lobworm tail to tempt them in. Sits there lovely there. There's quite a nice slack here really. Probably get away with a lighter float, but I'd rather be sat with one a little bit heavy than trying to hang on to a float that's too light. Now the only problem I might face here is a few snags. I know it's, you know, where I'm fishing now, you know, is just over where you'd normally be sat, and knowing the makeup of the bottom, I know there's a few branches and bits and pieces down there, so I wouldn't be surprised if we lose an odd hook length, but fortune favours the brave, as they say. Yeah, it's just sitting lovely there, that is. Nailed on for a bite. Give me a lot of leaves coming down at the moment. It's that time of year. A bit of water. I fished yesterday and fish feeder, and it was really hard work. And just a bit of rubbish around the olivettes there. What I'm going to do is just put it out into the flow and let it just drop into that hole where I've thrown the ground bait and just lower the rig down, let it sink under, and just let it work its way round over your ground bait. Leaf. One thing fishing this way, it does, you are, everyone thinks that heavy floats are maybe a bit cumbersome and don't give you the, don't give you the sensitivity. But I mean, that was a leaf. A leaf hit the line, float went under. All right, it wasn't a bite, but it shows you that everything's balanced. Anything that's gonna touch the hook bait, you're gonna get a bite. Well, here's our first fish. As expected, a nice little roach on a lobworm tail start. I did lose a big fish straight away. I don't know what it was, but it bust me. But that's kind of what I expected to catch. I'm sure there'll be a few of them roach willing to open their mouths today, so let's see if we can put a few together. I'm just using just a little piece of worm. Lobworms are a big thick bait, so I'm using a size 12 up basically. But I can cover that up with just the tail of a worm is enough. So you don't want anything too long and big, otherwise then, especially the roach, they'll just suck at it and you won't catch them properly. It's nice, it's sitting nice now. The river's dropped, it's probably dropped 4 inches now since I got here. So it's starting to drop at a decent pace. And whether that'll spur a few fish on to feed or it might have the adverse effect, but at the moment I feel like it's fairly clear. I'm not snagging up much. Leaves are a bit of a problem. Every few seconds the float sort of moves a bit odd, and it's just obviously a leaf touching the olivettes, or and sometimes it means you've got to relay the rig or pull it out. But I feel like we get a few bites here. I feel like I get a few bites running it, in all fairness, on the running line. But at the moment I just want to concentrate over that ground bait, see what's coming in and having an early look. It's a very positive way of fishing, I do like it. I haven't even put a maggot on yet, but I imagine if I put maggots on, I think I would get dace. We'll try it a bit, but for now, lobworm tails are going to pick out any decent fish, hopefully. reckon. Oh, big dace that time. Even a big old dace are taking the lobworm tail. Well, this ain't bad, is it, for a 3-metre river? You know, if you imagine that winter level generally here is around about 1 metre, so we're over 2 metres above that. All kinds of debris coming down, cold water, but we've got slack water in front of us, or slacker water. It shows these fish will take a meal when it's on offer. I'm just starting to put a ball in virtually every chuck now. Now look at that. That's what we came for. River 3.5 metres on, but you can still get bites off beautiful roach like that. It's £1 every day of the week, that is. Taking the tail of a lobworm. What an absolute stunning fish. Let's catch another one. Right then, so the time has come to have a go on this running line with the centre pin. Now you're going to enjoy this because this won't happen very often. So I'm just going to fish with maggots on this. I'm going to run it pretty much over the similar line, same line that we've been feeding the ground bait on, but it should just be a case of just dropping it out. Hemp out there as well. Just be able to just let it run off the spool, really. I mean, actually not, still holding it back a bit because just dragging bottom there. The only problem here is I will be running into snags, and I know the peg, it's not the cleanest bottom, so I might lose an odd hook length. If I can just keep it quite tight, keep it on the same line that the ground bait's been going. So loose feeding a bit of hemp over the top as well. Ball of ground bait going in as well. That's it, and the float just rides up because it's overshotted, so you just let it ride up. Just bob it through. It slows up quite nicely there, and then just occasionally just let it go a little bit. Well, I've been fishing this this running line for half hour or so, and I haven't had a bite yet. And I think that's just purely to the fact that I can't hold it still enough. Even with this 8 gram bollo, it does go through nice, but I just don't feel like the fish want it very still. So I've just put an extra SSG on my bulk shot, and I'm going to really overshot it now, and put a bit of extra depth on, and see if we can really slow it down. In all fairness, it's no fault of the setup, you know, that in all fairness the centre pin does run it through lovely. But it just, you know, in comparison to the flat float, it's just not getting the same presentation, you know, that slow bait, still bait basically. Catching a lot of snags as well, which is really frustrating. But, you know, with a flat float you can fish very static baits in the places where you know it's clear. I have to go out a little bit further than I'd like, really, but I still feel like I can get a bite on it. I just need to be able to hold it still enough. But yeah, just that extra SSG obviously is dragging the float under, and it makes it harder to pull up with the flow. So it's just, you know, creating the effect of slowing the float down, slowing your bait down, giving the fish a chance to see it, look at it, and take it. So that's just holding a bit slower there. That's nice there. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, it pulled out of it. Pulled out of it. Oh, that's disappointing. But positive all the same. So that change in shotting has just changed things around. Right, okay. Oh, there's a fish. Here we go. Our first fish on centre pin on a long rod. What is it? Oh, it came off! It came off! It bloody came off! What a roach that was. I'd have got that in with a fixable reel. Right, well anyway, it's a sign. That's me first. I've pulled out of one fish before that. I've just pulled out of that one. But I think putting those extra, I've just put a couple of extra, well, basically the equivalent of an SSG on to really slow the float up, and it seems to have got me a couple of bites. So hopefully I'm onto something now and I can get some bites. But it's really hard because there's so many snags. You're running into the snags all the time. Lovely way of fishing, but it's not ideal for today. You know, you need to be nailing it today. But I promised I was going to give this centre pin a go, and I'm determined to catch some fish on it. Well, this has become a bit of a challenge in itself. I've so far pulled out 2 fish on this running line. I know if I was on a flat float, if I carried on that flat float, I'd be getting bites regular. But this has become the challenge itself now, trying to catch on this blooming centre pin and long line. It's a lovely way of fishing, but it's just not holding it still enough today. And I'm determined to get one out on it, just to say I have. I've had bites, I've had a couple of bites, and I've pulled out of a couple of fish. The trouble is, all the time you're running into snags, and you can't hold it still out of the snags like you can on a flat float, where you can just nail it in one place. Determined to get one before the end. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Oh, please stay on. That feels like a big roach to me. On the centre pin. Come on. Oh, it feels like a nice roach, that does. Oh, I'll tell you what, that's lovely on that rod, that long rod. Oh, that's a big roach. Come on, baby. That's nice, that is. That is nice. Come on. Oh. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Now. Look at that. Roach on the centre pin. There's people who watch it now will probably be absolutely beside themselves with that.
I'm going tomorrow.
Hey, that's what we came for, innit? So there you go. Mission accomplished. Fish on the centre pin. Well, I've just lost me umpteenth hook length. You know, running through the snags here. It's, you know, like I say, you're fishing where you'd normally be sort of stood, or, you know, right in the edge, and I know it's snaggy, so might be being greedy, but I'm going to pack this up or put it down at least. You know, we've caught a fish on the centre pin as was the aim, and we've caught some fish on flat float. So I'm going to be a bit greedy now, and I'm going to set up a feeder rod and see if we can just snare a barbel before the end. You never know, might have a chance. But while I do that, I'd just like to say I've had some wonderful days out this year. We've had some great guests, just met some wonderful people, and I've also got continued support from friends. And so while I'm setting a feeder, I'm just going to take you back to a day back in the summer when it was a fair bit different to this. And my good friend Nigel Botherway came down for a day on the Wye with me, and this is how it went. Hi there, and welcome to Angling Escapades on the bank today, and I'm joined by a special guest today. We've got none other than Nigel Botherway, angling journalist and talk show Fisherman's Blue radio host.
Correct, yeah.
Happy to be here, Nigel. It's not your first visit to the Wye Valley, is it?
It's not. I love it here. It's lovely. You can't beat a day on the River Wye, Dave, and I'm really looking forward to today with you.
Good. Well, you've been looking forward to meeting Monty, who's here with us as well.
I have. We've bonded already. He's gorgeous, aren't you, Monty?
He's any fuss and he's yours. So what we're going to do today, we're just here for just for a day out. This is a stretch. This is a part of the river you've not fished before, isn't it, Nigel?
No, it's lovely.
So we're going to just fish and just see if we can catch a fish. So we're going quite a bold approach to start with. So we've just decided to put a little goody mixture of hemp and pellets, and we're fishing a pellet on the hook on a band, and we're just going to fish a little waggler through this we've got a lovely glide here, fast water, shallowing up on the far bank, and hopefully there'll be some chub and barbel here. So we're going to fish quite positively, and we might have to change it later on if we need to, but we're just going to see if we can get a few bites and see what's willing to feed today. So should we get going now?
We certainly shall, and you're too modest to say it, but you're the mentor, you're the tutor today. I'm really looking forward to learning from a 2 times Wye champ.
Well, I'm definitely going to feed for you, I can tell you that.
Thank you very much. Not often you get a 2 times Wye champ as your gilly, is it?
So all we're trying to do with this, we're just with the pellets, because we've got different size pellets, we're trying not to spread them out too much, but also not feed them too high up the peg, because we don't want...
that about the line there?
I think that's perfect. We don't want these fish coming too above us even and missing out on them.
Yeah. It's a nice pace just over there, isn't it?
It's lovely, isn't it? I say it's not a peg generally. Quite often you look at this sort of peg and think, oh, I'll fish that with a stick float or a bolt or a loafer. But this fishing a waggler sort of just over the fast water.
That about as far as you'd go?
I keep going. Let it run. Yeah, let it run.
I'm used to using a centre pin where you don't want to go too far. It's too much hard work getting it back.
My centre pin skills aren't great, but I do notice, like for match fishing and stuff, it is a slower process.
Yeah.
So but that goes through there nice. That does. That's.
Hello Monty, we've got a fish on. Yes, you come to help me? You come to help Monty, we've got a fish on here. You just want to cuddle and I'm trying to play a barbel.
Monty likes to get in on the action.
Yeah. I said you were a star of the show.
There's no mistaking those bites, is there?
Now, I was just going to say to you, that's the type of bite I love from a barbel. Rather than steal your rod, it's like knock knock. Are you ready, Nigel? It's like gives you a sort of minute's notice. Well, not a minute, but a few seconds. Just knock knock. Are you ready? Because I'm going to take this. Get ready to strike. But I think if I hadn't struck, it would have gone.
Yeah, you'd have lost the run.
But it's quite nice because I often fish with a hair rig and it is a case of fish on, whereas it's much more enjoyable when you've actually got a strike, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not always. I say this is just like a continuation of how we're trying to fish on the float, with a pellet band, but right against the hook.
Yeah.
And you feel every bite, don't you? You feel.
That's right. It's just, And what's also interesting, I felt quite a few, probably chub or chublets, but quite a few bites that haven't developed that you might not have known about with heavier gear.
Yeah, slightly bigger one, that one by the looks.
I'll take them all day.
Look at this, the sun is at its highest now. This is
Yeah.
like, this is supposedly the worst time of day to be fishing.
That's right, lots of people will be saying, oh, wait till the light goes in, wait till after dark.
Yeah.
I would say the best time to catch a barbel is when you cast out.
Yeah.
And I have caught lots of barbel in the dark, but I always think it's almost a waste, because when you put a head torch on them, they look all washed out and grey, whereas in the sunlight, it does them justice, doesn't it? They look beautiful. And this little tinge of colour in the water, it makes them even more golden, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you first see them.
Actually, I didn't notice that, you know, I knew there was still a little bit of colour in the water. It was only when we hooked that first barbel I realised just how much, because it made it just look completely bronze and coppery almost. Do you find with, like, because I do it a bit with pike fishing, salmon fishing, whatever, you know, you're flitting from thing to thing. Do you find that you have to do things in an organised way, or can you be quite sort of ad hoc with your fishing? So you just go, do you know what, I'm going to go out, I've got a 3-day tomorrow, I'm going to go barbel fishing. Or do you find with your schedule and things that things have to be more planned?
I do flit around, and I always say, you need, you know, I tell kids, it's all right to have lots of tackle, but don't take lots with you. So I've got my little barbel pouch, my carp pouch, I've got a little box with my grayling and my roach gear in, and one with my feeder gear. So it's just picking that up. But
I did think today, I wondered, because we've not fished together before, and I thought, well, I wonder what gear you'll bring and what we'll, you know, I was trying to think about the comfort situation, whatever, in that. And I just love the fact that we've literally just got the rod ready, come and sat down on some rocks, and we're fishing. And this is like, I just love it. It's how it should be in some ways, isn't it? You know, we get carried away with
some people, and we haven't had far to walk today, but some people just take so much gear, you know, that they then can't be bothered to move because it's too much like hard work.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I've got loads of leads in the car, but, you know, I don't need them here, and I've got a few bits in my pocket. We're just about winning here, Dave.
Yeah, that's a nice fish, that is.
That is. With the current right on our inside, you can't really avoid that mainstream.
No.
Oh, doesn't that look beautiful?
That's gorgeous, isn't it?
That looks lovely. Come and meet Dave.
Keeping away from them rocks.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a few rocks on the inside here, and I think sometimes you can just catch your unaware.
I must admit, normally I've got a 1 3/4 pound test curve rod and give them a little bit more welly than this, but I'm just being that bit careful.
But that's you say that's a traditional, how old's that rod?
Oh, it must be 30 years plus.
Come on.
I've got a new reel on here, but it's a 30-year-old rod.
That's a nice one, isn't it?
That's lovely. That's what we came for, Monty. Yeah, that is a nice fish, isn't it?
Little mark on it.
Ah, beautiful, Dave.
Put that hook on there.
Cheers. Still got the bait. Yeah, that's a lovely fish, isn't it? He'd have beaten us up on the float.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Well done, sir.
Thank you very much. Well done, you.
Put that one back.
Okay.
Right then, Nigel. So the meat feeder. So these are my favourite cooked bait. These are just made out of that's a broken pole section, that is.
Yep.
Yeah, just cut out punches. I mean, you could do anything, I suppose, but that's I like these cylindrical sort of barrels of meat. And using the bait band, I just find I don't need any stops or anything like that, and I can just stretch that out, pull the band through, and then as I sort of retract the band, it's expanding inside the meat.
Yeah, and that's enough to stay on. Perfect.
And it creates a real durable
Yeah.
hook bait, you know. So
Chub and that don't pull it off.
No.
Brilliant.
That's as much as I need, you know.
Yeah, like it.
Thing, and plenty of room between the hook and the bend of the hook.
Yeah.
So anything gets all that, and then the feeder itself. I say we're on just the same rig as we were using on the thing. We've put a feeder on, just a grip mesh feeder with the spikes in.
Love it.
And I've got my chopped meat.
This is the interesting bit.
Right. So this is what people don't grasp is that this meat actually stays in these feeders very well.
Most people obviously think it's going to come out, whereas you don't want it to come out.
No. So the spikes, I think, inside the feeder enable it to sort of stay in there you know, it stays in there. Not just an odd bit will come out in
Yeah.
the flow, and what that does is just create a little drip feeding effect.
Yeah.
And the fish sort of home in on it and find it, and then find your hook bait. And it just seems to. I think, you know, I rarely start on it. I'll usually sort of fish other methods first, and then start introducing some meat and things. So we haven't actually introduced any meat yet, so we'll see. It might take a couple of casts of work, but let's see if we can get a bite on this, just so you can say, I couldn't let you come for a day without me, without catching a fish on a meat feeder.
I've watched you do it online, and now I'm going to have a go.
Yeah. That's right on the money, that, isn't it?
Yep. Bit more of a badosh with the old feeder, but
I say sometimes it can take them a little while to warm up to it. You know, they sort of find it and then they'll move in on it. But it usually doesn't take that long. Oh, straight on it. I mean, the only trouble is these smaller chub in the river. They do love a piece of meat. But, but it's a big enough bait that they should, you know. They shouldn't take it off, or you know. And I think once the barbel find it, they pretty much bully them out of the way anyway.
And with it staying in the feeder like that, do you find the barbel that hit the feeder, you do get quite a few knocks of them actually hitting the feeder? You
do. Sometimes, occasionally, when they're really honed in on it, you can you'll get a bite and you can't believe you missed it, and you come in and there's no, you know, your hook bait's still there and everything, and it's literally that they've just come in and crashed into the feeder. Probably even picked the feeder up.
Yeah, sure.
You know what barbel are like. They can be very finicky, or they can be very aggressive.
I've watched them doing that. I once dropped a feeder, you know, in the edge where you could see the barbel, and you know, just watching them smashing the feeder. And it was interesting because I was thinking the times when you think maybe it's, you know, chublets or a gudgeon playing billiards with your hook bait. It's not. It's the barbel headbutting the feeder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Must be quite frustrating for them when they want to eat it and they can't get it out of the packet.
trying to suck it out the feeder.
Yeah.
There is a question for you then. So you're obviously you interview a lot of people on the radio show. You get lots of people, lots of different causes, lots of different projects, things like that. And I suppose in some ways, being a journalist, you have to be a little bit sort of unbiased about things and what have you. But what would be, at this moment in time, taking all your journalist hats off or whatever, what would be the one thing in angling that you really feel strongly about at the moment, like a cause or a problem or a trend or something that really gets your juices flowing?
It's interesting because it's an old one, but one that always lights up the switchboard is if litter's mentioned.
Really?
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it? Because every angler hates litter.
Yeah.
Yet there are anglers out there dropping it.
Yeah.
You know, and the worst ones I think are the ones, you know, if you open a bag of something and a gust of wind takes it, you might not even know it's gone. Whereas the worst one, the one that take the trouble to pick it all up, put it in the carry bag, then go and stuff it in a bush, don't they?
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
It's just, I remember seeing an angler once. I was walking the dog, I wasn't even fishing, and there was an angler sat with, it looked like he was sitting on a skip, you know, on a tip.
Yeah.
And I said, how can you sit there? And he said, it's not mine. And I said, doesn't matter, how can you sit there? Why don't you pick it up? You know, and it's just not mine, why should I pick it up? And it just, that winds me up. And as I say, it will get the switchboard going if you talk about it.
And the thing is, it is, you know, it's a cliche, isn't it? But it is just a few who spoil it for others. But,
exactly,
but
yeah.
It's,
and the other cliche is, you know, if you've got a tin of luncheon meat, it weighs less empty. So if you could bring it there full, you can take it home empty. Yeah, it's crazy. It really is.
I just don't understand why you'd come to a place like this as we have. I mean, really, it wouldn't have mattered if we caught nothing today, would it? You're still you're in the presence of nature's beauty. And why would you think? You know, I couldn't sleep at night if I knew I'd left a load of rubbish lying around. Because, you know,
especially if it's line that, you know, wildlife can get tangled up in.
I just don't understand it.
And it puts angling in such a bad light.
It does. And we don't need any help there, do we?
No, we don't.
You know,
and I suppose
are we in?
I think
he's gonna have it. Gotta have that. Yeah, he's on there.
Gotta be on there. Not unless he's gonna. Yeah, he is. He came right upstream.
I thought he was going to have a go at that.
Dear. I was thinking, is he nutting that feeder? Is he trying to nick the feeder?
It's really heavy. Oh, he's woke up. There we go.
Yeah, I thought for a minute he was snagged. He might have just been in a bit of weed. It was.
So there you go. So that's been the no editing involved there.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
First cast on the meat feeder. Okay, it took a little bit longer than I was hoping, but quite often it takes to second cast. But that was.
It's funny. I've caught carp on meat recently. Yeah, in the last on and off over the last few years, but I can't remember, Dave. This is note to Nigel. I can't remember the last time I cast a bit of meat out for a barbel. It just shows the old baits. I think I told you earlier, you know, I recommended to a TalkSport listener to try meat on the wire, and he did very well on it. He thanked me. But everybody with their boilers and pellets, it's easy to forget what a great bait meat is.
And no chicken tikka powder either.
No, straight out the tin.
However, that's again is another. I'm not employed by the meat board or anything. I'm not sort of like a spokesperson for meat. However, it's quite versatile in the fact that you can do that. But you can flavour it, can't you?
Yeah.
You can do.
And maybe you might have to. You know, through your videos watching this, people are going to be, you know, going down the supermarket or saying to their wife, "Get us some luncheon meat." And perhaps when you need an edge, if the barbel do get a bit wary of it, that's when the tikka powder. I used to find in a flood, I used to flavour it with garlic, and I love that in a flood.
Yeah, this wasn't it. I hear a lot of people talk about the old spam, the garlic and something. Was it something garlic spam they used to do?
Yeah.
And that was the one that used to be the killer bait.
Yeah, I never used that. I just used to flavour my own, but you know, just chop it up in a polythene bag and pour some garlic flavour in there. But
it is good flavour. It does take on flavours like that.
Yeah,
doesn't
it does.
Because
Yeah,
of that greasy skin, it sort of like absorbs.
As I said to you earlier, I think a lot of the flavour, we're kidding ourselves. You feel like you're making a bit more effort, so you deserve a bit more. You know, effort equals reward. And also, you say, oh yeah, but you know, they obviously like meat as it is, as we're proving here.
Yeah.
That was the quickest bite we'd had, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. We've had a great time, Dave. This has been lovely.
It's also, I think people as well. You know, there's two ways of barbel fishing. You know, there's either you go out and you sort of you set your trap, you put your bait in or whatever, and you fish for those big fish. You know, you fish. You specimen fish for barbel, or you fish for barbel.
Yeah, you're fishing for one big one that might be a PB, or you fish for bite. And funny enough, as I get older, I'm happier just fishing for bites. I just, I just like catching barbel.
To catch on this sort of day, you know, what is it going to be 70 plus degrees today?
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're in the height of the day, and we're getting bites regular, and I think sometimes you've got to be realistic. You know,
That's right.
If you want to catch a big fish, then maybe you've got to look at going just shorter sessions in the evening, that sort of thing. But if you can only get out in the daytime, it just shows that the weather doesn't have to be a
That's
barrier.
where I always admire you match anglers, because you fish the worst possible time of day, yet you still get such great results. But having said that, I think the moral is it's the same with carp angling. You know, people go for the night, so psychologically they don't think they're going to catch till the night. Whereas you know, if you cast out 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you might catch one then. You know, it's
a decent fish.
Oh, they're all decent, aren't they? There's that bit of weed where it just did go solid for a moment when I first hooked it. Yeah, deep water under your feet and the full flow under your feet, they make the most of it, don't they? We were talking earlier about how much stretch there is in mono. When you've got just this much out, you haven't got much stretch, and this is the bit just to be careful. They look beautiful, don't they? Love it. Come on, come and meet Dave.
There we go.
Brilliant.
So that's officially your first fish on meat feeder.
Yeah, first fish on meat for a long time. First one on the meat feeder. Won't be the last.
No. And I had a customer who took this to the River Taff. Michael, he came with me last year, and he's a great guy. And he said, I think this could work on a taff. And I said, well, it's more of a method that's better
work anywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, but I said it's a method that works well for shoalfish.
Beautiful fish.
And he took it to the taff where there's less fish but bigger fish, and he caught his PB, caught a double figure barbel off the taff on it.
Fantastic.
Well done, Nigel. There we go.
Well done, Dave. You put me on the fish and let me in on your secret weapon. You match anglers, most, barbel, carp, specimen anglers are sort of real secret squirrels. Because that's what I love about match anglers. And there's a question for you. Do you always try and, in a match, do you always try and keep something up your sleeve?
In matches, the only thing I try and keep up my sleeve is how many fish I've caught.
Right, that's more like the poker player with everybody, isn't it? You never hear anybody, they always underestimate.
Invariably, I end up telling the truth eventually.
Yeah. chub always love to go under something under your feet, don't they? Just the thing you don't, look at that right at the top there. Well, that's a lovely way to finish the day. I'm happy with that. More than happy with that.
I'm surprised it's the first chub we've had actually.
Well, I had one of the floats, didn't I? A smaller one, but
it's more like the size we expected.
Some of the bites we've had, we've suspected chub, haven't we? And there's the culprit. No, I'm more than happy with that. Very nice, thank you, Mr. Chub. Just think on a cold winter's day, that can make your day better.
So so this has been obviously your first trip, your first river trip of this season.
It certainly has. Won't be my last.
So
but,
I think it's probably whetted your appetite to get out again.
Oh, definitely. I say I've got a trip booked with the grandsons next month, but hopefully, you never know. You and I might get another chance to get out. But
I think so.
I've really enjoyed today, Dave. I've learnt a lot. I'm sorry that I've helped perpetuate your feeder success. That's going to make it harder for you.
Meat feeder.
I'll be doing the meat feeder, and I'm sure lots more of your viewers will. But proof's in the pudding, and they love it, don't they?
It's fun. Well, as long as you've enjoyed it, I've enjoyed it.
Oh,
it's been nice to see you on the end of a few questions as well. For a change.
Thank you very much.
You've always been a big supporter of us at Angling Escapades, so
oh well, I love it.
Get out again soon. Maybe pike fishing next time, maybe.
Oh, love it. Yeah, I love the pike fishing. Yeah, Dave's pike fishing on the wire is hard to beat in winter, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Let's hope we can be shaking hands when we catch a big pike then. Funny times at the moment, but it's been great. Oh, and here's Monty come to say.
Yeah, Monty's, he's got a sixth sense. He knows when it might be time to pack up because he thinks there might be some meat spare, don't you, boy?
You're a clever boy, aren't you, Monty?
Yeah.
You're a clever boy. You've been in the shade. And again, what you've proved today is, here we are in the heat of the day, sun blazing. Most barbel anglers were waiting for it to get dark, and we've fought steadily throughout.
Yeah, and I think we'd carry on getting bites now as well. It's only because time's against us. So
Yeah,
we've got to, we're going to make a move.
Right. You can have too much of a good thing, can't you, Monty?
So there we go. That was a brilliant day out with Nigel, and Nigel's a real sort of friend of the show, if you like. Someone who supports what we do, and another person who just loves the River Wye and loves coming here and everything that it brings. So yeah, real nice day out in somewhat different conditions. So here we go. Last knock-ins. Probably got about 3/4 an hour left of possible daylight. So we're going to have a chuck for a barbel. Obviously, meat feeder. Gonna go with one method, it'll be that. So usual setup, cage feeder, little nugget of, or a little sausage of meat. I'm just going to chuck it just out into the flow, just down the peg a little bit. Settle down on that line there. Well, there we go. My attempts to catch a barbel were futile in the end. I suppose I was being a bit greedy there, but anyway. It's been a lovely little afternoon. Caught some fish on the flat flow, and even caught one on the centre pin, so it ain't all bad. So I'm going to get packed up before it gets too dark, and I'm going to head back to HQ. And while I'm packing up, I'm sure you're aware, not always these filming days, they don't always go according to plan, and you know, I'm quite clumsy by nature anyway, as anybody who knows me will tell you. So while I'm getting packed away, I'm going to leave you with some of my, shall we say, bloopers from the year filming. So enjoy these, and once you can have a bit of meat. Some power there. Oh no!
And then that 30 seconds would erase and it would start again, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very, very clever. So it was always going, but it just always, unless you pressed something, it just always erased the previous 30 seconds.
So you know, so that's what we do. You know, that's what I say. That's what we do on the Y, and I say, you know, we're available for hire, and that sounds crap, doesn't it? Available for hire. Hit, man. That's better. So there you go. That's just a minuscule amount of the mishaps that go on when I'm out filming. Believe me, the ones that don't, there's many more that don't get caught on camera. But listen, it's all good fun, and I enjoy the process of filming and putting these videos together. And I accept that I'm going to be making a clown of myself occasionally. So there you go. So yeah, good little afternoon session. That I enjoyed that. You know, horrible river, but it just goes to show it's not. There's always bites to be had, especially on the Y, and a couple of nice roach there. It was nice. So and the old centre pin as well. As much as I mock it, I do like them. They are an enjoyable thing to use. Beautifully engineered, and yeah, I mean, like I say, from a match fishing point of view, they'll never be fast enough for me, but and I believe I can get the same presentation without, but I see why people use them, and I love it when people come to me when they come for a day and they say, I want to fish for barbel on the centre pin or whatever. I love all that. So and I should probably get out again soon. I think as soon as it goes cold, I'll go and do some grayling fishing with it, because it's such good fun. So there we go. So that's yeah, that's the end of the year, Christmas time. Incredible year. Don't think I remember sitting here last year and doing the Christmas video and could never envisage what panned out. It's been a tough year in many ways. I'm sure, like many people, you know, I've struggled with certain parts of it. the whole lockdowns and things like that. But the good thing is we've been able to go fishing, and you know, and I think that it's probably, it certainly has for me, it's sort of made people realise just what we have and what we enjoy and what we get out of fishing. And I've certainly been more appreciative of things recently, and you know, hopefully next year will be different. I'm sure it's not over yet, but it'll be different and things. So I'd just like to say thank you to all our guests this year. We've just had some, I've just meet incredible people. I genuinely do not meet people I do not like in this game. It's just, we get so many nice guests, people from different diverse backgrounds, but we've all got a common theme that we're absolutely enchanted by the Wye, or the River Wye, and everything within it. And there's, you know, there's something going on all year. So thank you to our guests, thank you to our subscribers of this channel. I haven't done as many videos this year. I thought with the lockdown I'd do a lot more, but I haven't, and just haven't had the time for one reason or another. Next year I really want to crack on and get some more content for you and get some more videos. So please keep subscribing, and keep your comments coming, even the nasty ones. And yeah, we'll try and get some more content and just share our experiences with you. Like I say, if you fancy a day on the Wye with us any time of year, we've got, you know, as you've seen today, even with Rough River, we've got good fishing right through the winter and the summer months. So you've got a few exciting things coming up next year. We've got some new stretches of water which we're using, which are going to be exclusive to us, so we're really excited about that. And we're also, you know, going to be doing more sort of package projects as well, sort of, you know, holidays, fishing holidays, 2-day breaks, short breaks. We're working with local hotels, guest houses, cottages, everything. We've sort of just so we can really put together packages for people. So if that's something you're interested, get in touch. And I think I'll leave you with I'm going to leave you with a bit of a montage of some of my favourite images that I've taken throughout the year, and maybe little videos and what have you, and that, and just some good memories. And it's yeah, a nice way to end the year. So have a look at this. But there we go. How nice was that? Some absolute brilliant memories of the year that's passed. So all that remains is for me and Monty here to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, stay safe, and see you all in 2021. Should we go out? Come on.